this is what it is today. So AWS operates in geographic regions, each containing multiple availability zones, isolated data centers. Services are deployed differently based on their architecture. Some are regional, some are availability zone specific, some are global. Below is a breakdown of how each major service works with regions and availability zones. Okay, let's discuss about EC2 elastic computer clouds. So deployment model of this one need to understand is per availability zone, right? So when you are creating an instance, so you can create this instance, you have to run in a specific availability zone, right? So this one is North Virginia. See that US East 1A, right? See that these zones you can put into one of these zones, right? That is only a single availability zone. So you put this one into this EC2 into this one, it's going to be in a single availability zone, right? And if an availability zone fails, instance in that availability zone go down unless replicated. If it's not replicated to another zone, let's say you put one of the instance into US East to 1C, right? But if the power goes down in this zone, it will go down because it's only in a one single availability zone, right? And auto scaling can distribute instances across multiple availability points for high availability. I will show you in one of the video in the future how do you do auto scaling. So when you do auto scaling, that means it will create more instance according to the whatever the rule we putting under auto scaling. If you putting according to the load your resources, let's say one of the website running in one of the instance, auto scale according to the workload you're getting, it will distribute instances into a multiple availability zone. Let's say um, you you put one of them in multiple availability zones and you can put different EC2s into a different availability zones, right? So if one of these zones goes down, is still the service is still available, right? And auto scaling can distribute instances across multiple easy availability zone for high availability. So that will available uh, if you got a 3 instance or 4 instance running, even if you go two availability zone goes down, it's still the service is running in the other availability zone, right? So the next one we got talking about EBS volumes. That means elastic block uh, uh, volumes. That is actually availability zone bound. That means that EC2 instance, let's say you put EC2 instance into one of the availability zone, the EBS volume also in that availability zone. So it's attached to that EC2 instance. So if a EBS volume, if you put the EC2 instance in this availability zone, that is in that availability zone. It's not available in the one of the other availability zone, right? That's what it does say, right? And then PBC volumes are availability zone bound must be in same availability zone as the EC2 instance. So it need to be in the same availability zone in just like a attached hard disk. So always going to be in availability zone, right? And then we'll go to lambda. Lambda. Lambda is serverless computing, so it's just a function or something will runs and gives you the results. So deployment model is regional. So when you applying lambda, lambda will apply to a certain region. When you're creating a Lambda, it will go to a certain region, right? And runs in a region, not a specific availability zone. So you need to understand it's a regional. You can't put in a region into a particular availability zone, right? So how does it select? AWS automatically distribute Lambda function across availability zones for redundancy, right? That means AWS automatically distribute the Lambda function across availability zones for redundancy. So you just need to select the region, then Lambda AWS automatically put Lambda into availability zones or redundancy. Only thing what we can't do, we can't select a particular availability zone for that, right? And these are like uh, Elastic Container Instances services, Elastic Kubernetes services, and Fargate. Fargate also like serverless computing similar to Lambda, right? We'll discuss this later. What is the difference between Lambda and Fargate later. So this one, EKS and ECS clusters can span multiple availability zones. So when you're doing its deployment model is a regional with availability zone option. So you can span it into different availability zone, right? And Fargate tasks are region scoped, but can be deployed across availability zones. Target task region scope, so it will work as a regional task, but can be deployed across availability zones, right? And the third one we're going to discuss is a storage service. Storage service, simple storage service like S3 buckets. So S3 buckets deployment model is regional with multi-availability zone redundancy. So you need to understand when you're creating a bucket, S3 bucket in a certain region, the data is automatically replicated across more than 3 availability zones in a region. Let's say the region what we selected is US East, North Virginia region. If you create a bucket called bucket 1 or something, the data is automatically replicated across the availability zones in the region, right? Okay, so here, if you create a bucket in here, North Virginia, so the data of the bucket can be distributed through more than 3 availability zones in here, right? That's how S3 works, right? And S3 cross-region replication allow copy into another region. Also, cross-region replication process allow it to be copied into another region, so it replicates into another region as well, right? Let's okay, let's finish this one as well in this video. Right. Okay. So we're going to talk about EBS, Elastic Block Store. That block storage, like attaching a hard disk into EC2 instance. That means computer instance. So deployment model is single availability zone. So always, whichever the availability zone you put in the EC2 instance, the EBS volume also going to be into that single availability zone. So EBS volumes exist only in one availability zone, must attach to ECT in EC2 in the same availability zone, and snapshots are region wide, can restore to any availability zone. So, but you're creating snapshot for the backup, but they can be region wide, right? Region wide means if you putting in a one availability zone, right? And then a snapshot can be deployed back into another availability zone in the region, right? That's what it says is service, right? And then elastic file system. So deployment model is regional and multi-availability zone. Data is stored across multiple availability zone within the region. So that is highly available for network um, file system, which is mainly used for Linux operating system like Linux machines. This one is available across multiple availability zones in the region. So I think we just discuss a few of the services, how they available in regions and availability zone in this video. Let's continue the other services like database service and other stuff from next video. Until then, thank you very much.